Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising on a point of order related to what I think you may agree with me, Mr. Speaker. We've had a deteriorating quality of SO31s. They're descending into a fairly unpleasant political spin instead of what they're supposed to be. And of course, Mr. Speaker, I don't need to remind you of the rules. They're to deal with issues of national or local importance, and they are never to be personal attacks. I think they're getting really quite, for lack of a better word, despicable. I refer in particular to one from yesterday from the member for Wildrose, who used his SO31 to attack me. In fact, I was flabbergasted by this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I'm trying to make more of a generic point that they're going downhill.
The Honourable Government House Leader is rising.
Well, Mr. Speaker, if you will allow me, for the benefit of the honourable member, I will read to her what Standing Order 31 actually says. A member may be recognized under the provisions of Standing Order 30.5 to make a statement for not more than 1 minute. The Speaker may order a member to resume his or her seat if, in the opinion of the Speaker, improper use is made of this standing order. There is nothing saying that the content must be local. There's nothing saying it must be national. There's nothing saying that it can't touch on policy. There's broad scope and range to it. In fact, there is no limitation whatsoever other than the Speaker's normal ability to determine that something is unparliamentary. So I fail to see what she's complaining of.
That's a good point, Peter.
I had one final point. I can understand that perhaps having fewer members in some of the other parties, she's frustrated that other people get to say more than hers, but that is not a reason to try and suppress the rights of others to have their say in this place.
The Honourable Member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Mr. Speaker, since in point of fact I've spoken more often in this House over the last year than any other member, that's not the source of my complaint. My complaint is that previous speakers, particularly Speaker Sauvé, was very clear in setting out guidelines. I think it's unhelpful for the maintenance and improvement of decorum in this place to have SO31s used for personal attacks or for nonsense such as the non-stop carbon tax ridiculous debate back and forth between the official opposition and the government. That's not the place for SO31s.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the honourable member says we shouldn't be allowed to speak about a carbon tax in this House now. Every single member of Parliament is responsible to their constituents. Constituents who, if they were faced with a $21.5 billion carbon tax, would have to pay that, would have their personal lives affected by it. Nothing could be more important for a member of Parliament than to stand up for their constituents on issues like taxes. I can't imagine why she would want to shut down that debate other than she doesn't.
Order. There have been previous Speaker rulings on what SO31 should and shouldn't be used for. I'll go back and look at the particular SO31 that the member has been complaining about, and if necessary, come back to the House and do that after the break when we come back.